Is Trump right to think that the cases that Alvin Bragg and Tish James brought against him are politically okay? Well, there's a reversal. Right, because the same people, right. Alvin Bragg, that's the one about the hush money to Stormy Daniels, right? And Tish James is the one about his business dealings. Apparently, he's a crook. Is Trump right to think those cases are politically motivated?
First, Trump is never right in my book. Just as
Was there ever a time when you were a friend? I mean, he goes way back in New York, as you do.
He goes way back. We're both from Queens, New York.
Right.
Our families knew each other. I dealt with him extensively through COVID, literally on a daily basis. No, we were never friends. Okay. What is interesting about the question is there was actually a poll. Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney, brought the first case against Trump. This is before Mar-a-Lago, before January 6th, which were, in my opinion, frankly, more serious cases. But they did a poll after Alvin Bragg brought the case. 76% of Americans said it was politically influenced. 76%. 76% of Americans don't.
On the most recent episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, the discussion got off to a quick start when my group started talking about Donald Trump's legal issues, one of the most contentious issues in American politics, with a shocking statistic. 76% of Americans believe that the charges against Trump are motivated by political considerations. By addressing former Governor Andrew Cuomo, the mayor set the stage for a more in-depth conversation on perception and justice. In response to Maher's question about the broader implications of this public skepticism, Cuomo calmly but vehemently stated that, although he disagrees with Trump's opinions, the growing skepticism about the legal system poses a bigger threat. According to him, Trump was able to present himself as a political target rather than a defendant by beginning with issues such as the Stormy Daniels payment or disagreements over asset values. Additionally, he questioned whether Trump gained momentum from these indictments, which made him seem persecuted rather than held responsible. Each accusation has paradoxically increased Trump's support by giving him material for his victim narrative. Cuomo agreed. Ultimately, both men came to the startling conclusion that preserving faith in the legal system is more crucial than concentrating on any one individual.
It's telling, Bill, because if we don't trust government, we don't trust the media, etc. If this country believes that the justice system itself is then politically tainted, then we have real trouble, because then you're on the precipice of anarchy. But that's what I found telling about that. It was more the public opinion was so high that politics is influencing the justice system.
And I mean, Trump is the kind of guy, the more he goes to jail, the more popular he becomes. It's like, it's street cred. He's like a rapper. It's true. And also, I never thought they should have brought the Stormy Daniels one. And the fact that there's one, it just, to the people who don't follow it closely, you know, they should have just had one, he's generally a piece of shit, Trump. But one omnibus piece of shit.
The Stormy Daniels case, it's like you're asking America to then think of this former porn star as a hero, and Michael Cohen, who's a known liar and fixer, as a hero. And it was really a books and records case that was upcharged to beat the statute of limitations. So, yeah, it made it really easy to roll your eyes on the other ones that were more serious.
The fear is that hush money or inflating your assets, that those reduce the veracity of much more serious crimes, including nuclear secrets and trying to overturn the peaceful transfer of power. I think it was just a tactical error.
Prosecutors may have unwittingly damaged the legitimacy of the entire legal system by focusing on relatively minor cases, such as the hush money payment, rather than starting with more serious accusations, such as improperly handling classified documents or involvement in the events of January 6. The panel brought up significant issues regarding the alleged politicization of the legal system as the conversation went on. There were real repercussions for public trust in addition to aesthetic concerns. Even Trump's critics worry that this order could backfire, transforming the legal process into political theater and drawing attention away from the gravity of more serious accusations. Critics argue that this strategy allows opponents to sabotage lawful inquiries by feeding into claims of political bias. At the heart of the conversation is a critical issue. When court decisions appear to further political goals, how can the legal system maintain public confidence? Others contend that putting transparency first and ensuring that justice is not only done, but also seems to be done fairly, regardless of one's political affiliation, is the answer.
I see why you two are pissed. Because, Democrats at their best, I think, are wonks. And I mean that as a great compliment. It's the one thing that Republicans, you don't usually find Republican wonks. They're Reagan, give me it on one page. Bush, give me it on one page. They're one-pagers. And government is complicated. And I know you two put in the time.
Government is complicated, and sometimes it requires sharp elbows, and sometimes it requires you to have to be tough in order to be effective. But the thing I find so funny about it is in the reaction to my book. Some of it is people saying, oh, this is, she wants to go out and attack people that attacked them. And I'm like, okay, well, there was a point when you were comparing me to Hitler's enabler, but now we're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't criticize anybody. Don't call this out. And really what I find interesting is nobody wants to talk about the facts of what happened. Because when you look at the facts of what happened, it's so damning. So it's easy to make it about personalities and about vendettas, about everything else.
Well, I feel like those things carry the day. To answer that question I asked you at the beginning, why would a liberal state with a liberal paper go after a liberal governor? Because, I'm sorry, make it all about generations, but a lot of the younger generation who was raised on the phone, which makes you shady and passive aggressive and mean and fake. I'm sorry, it just does. I don't think, you think they care about policy first and foremost? I don't. I think they take glee in this kind of shit. They like taking, especially that nest of vipers that's Albany.
Yeah. No, they love it. It's sport. It's actual sport.
It's sport. So it's like, he's on my same team. Who gives a shit who the team? You know what? I'm on my team, and it's so. Now again, I don't know what happened, and I don't know who's at fault, but.
A final round of the discussion zoomed out to examine the ways in which political polarization is impacting national governance. The panel reflected on how politics today too often become entangled in personal rivalries and performative gestures rather than focusing on solutions for real-world problems, criticizing a culture where media coverage and online engagement reward outrage and spectacle rather than thoughtful policy debate. Due to social media's algorithmic emphasis on emotion and polarization, younger generations are especially vulnerable to these trends. The political climate thus becomes more tense over cooperation, which makes it more difficult for public authorities to effectively lead. One conclusion emerged from the discussion. Although the group acknowledged the importance of holding leaders accountable, they'd advised against letting party passion override the need for fruitful discourse. Only by attempting to put aside tribal thinking and invest in intelligent, solution-focused administration will America be able to handle its pressing problems in a united and effective manner.